Hey guys, what's up? My name is Melissa, and you're listening to Wow, where we discuss unconventional norms of lifestyle, career, and world points. On Wow, people discuss their journey to becoming wow. Hosted and curated by me, Melissa Witherspoon. Hey guys, welcome back. On today's episode, we have owner and founder of Millennium Salon, Mr. Dexter Fields, on the show today. Say hi.
What's up, y'all?
So, of course, before we get into this wonderful conversation we're going to have with Mr. Dexter, we're going to give a quick update history, if you don't know who he is, about where he come from and how he ended up today. Dexter Fields, master barber of 28 years and owner of Millennium Salon, a barber salon located in downtown Silver Spring. BS degree in business administration from Oakwood College in Huntsville, Alabama, 1987. Barber license from Bladensburg Barber School, 1993. Master barber license, State of Maryland, 1996. Certified hair loss practitioner, 2017. Dexter the Groomer is also whole certified in Cranial Prosthesis Systems. I probably pronounced it wrong. Tell me what's the... Prosthesis Systems. Dexter the Groomer is an industry educator who teaches salon ownership and advanced barbering series at the trade shows, barber schools, and private one-on-one classes. Continuing education is very important to Dexter the Groomer. Learning advanced techniques that will add in the growth of his business, and what separates Dexter is not just as a barber, but as a groomer, thus addressing the total grooming care of his clients. To have a skill set is important, but to lend his talents to the community in which he serves is what truly adds value to his life. It is believed that you may be fortunate to have, but truly blessed are those who give. We are inspired so we can also be an inspiration to others. Dexter the Groomer continuously lends his support to charitable organizations, civil groups, community initiatives, and most importantly, youth organizations. To give back is the cornerstone of the success of the Dexter the Groomer. Dexter the Groomer and Millennial Salon has adopted a local transitional housing facility as one of the ways to give back to the community, providing free haircuts to these men and women who are moving from being homeless to attending permanent housing on a monthly basis. Is a clear calling for Dexter the Groomer and Millennial Salon. I think that's a wonderful start.
Hi.
Anything you want to add to the bio?
I think you'll pull more out of me later.
Okay, so as we see that you have been in the business for 28 years.
Yes.
That is wonderful.
Thank you.
It's amazing that you have expertise, especially with microwave estheticians, microwave cosmetologists nowadays, and they don't own their craft.
Right.
Literally, they go to a class, and no shade to them, they charge $400, maybe $1,000, and then they say, I'm a groomer overnight, and not knowing what to do. So to hear that you have 28 years in the business and continually growing and continue learning your craft, that I think is just phenomenal. So do you still take classes even today?
Absolutely. I do some kind of education every day. Even something as simple as watching a video. I watch a haircut video every day.
That just speaks to no matter how far you're in your career, you have to own your craft. Well, we all know owning your craft, but why is it so important, especially with you and your business and your field, the grooming business, to literally stay up to date on just the process of keeping hair healthy?
Well, I think it's incredibly important to be passionate about what you do.
Of course.
And to be relevant. I want to always be relevant. I want to be able to provide whatever service my clients need. And the only way to do that is to stay abreast on the latest techniques, the latest trends, and see how I can make it my own. Be it through my technique or through my years of experience. A lot of times you have a haircut. Well, it might be a fade, okay? Then it might be a temple taper. It might be a flat top. Then it might be a gumby. Then it's an afro. So they're different angles, but if I don't know the basic, I can't put my own spin on it. You know, I might take a gumby haircut. How would I modernize a gumby?
Right.
Well, I might color it, you know, or maybe add a retro, not a retro part, but a nice slanted part. So always doing something that is current. I have clients who are as old as in their late 80s
Wow.
to as young as 5 years old. So, and then in between, I have 21-year-old clients, I have 60-year-old clients, I have 40-year-old clients, I have 30-year-old clients. So to be relevant, I don't want to be a one-trick wonder. I want to be able to relate to as many people as possible. And I feel like that's a untapped, unrecognized market that a lot of people who call themselves hair professionals don't tap into.
But why though?
Because I don't feel like I get it twisted. I am a service provider. I'm not a celebrity. You are my celebrity when you sit in my chair. And I don't forget that. I'm not too big or too grand. I might have a beautiful clientele or quote unquote celebrity clientele. But at the end of the day, I'm only as good as my last haircut. And if the last person who sat in my chair happens to work at Target, I'm only as good as my last haircut. So my goal is to understand that I've got to satisfy each client. If you'll give me the opportunity to sit in my chair, I got to give you 100.
So it's staying grounded in the roots is what I'm hearing from. Because as we see, and this is no shade to the up and coming, I say more recognized and known hair groomers and stuff. They become personalities on Instagram. They want to rap, they want to sing, they want to do all of these things, which is cool. But it's like, do we lose what we want them to know them for, which is how they groom hair?
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. And I don't want to simplify this, but it is simple.
No, well, that's what truly matters. But I also feel that hair groomers, it's like for a long time before Black men, self-care was even talked in the Black community. Hair groomers was a preacher, a therapist, someone you can confide in, someone you can ask advice for, and then especially in old school barbershops, which is very designed like this with a modern touch, but it's very traditional barbershop, that you had other people in there to talk about. It wasn't just, it was like, prime example is, I know everybody has seen Barbershop, the franchise, the movie. In Barbershop, they had a classic scene where they talked about Rosa Parks and how it was a 2-person conversation, but by the end of that conversation, the whole entire barbershop was in it, and it gave their 2 cents. And I feel like that is what a hair groomer is. At times, I feel like y'all a moderator. At times, y'all just everything and above. So I understand, keep it simple, but y'all do so much more in the community. So with saying that, how do we get back to the basics? Because I feel like you're right. We have gone, especially with hair grooming, and especially if you guys don't know us, talking about Black and brown, hair business for us is a $1 billion business that we are consumers, but we're not owners. But we'll get into that further later. But how do we take it back to the basics?
First of all, you got to understand the community aspect, and that is that we are community. You spoke of the fact that you would get these groomers, barbers. They were also your therapist, your preacher, your cheerleader, your coach. All that is the thing that made it community.
Yep.
Okay. We lost a sense of community when we only focus on the dollar. That's my opinion. I feel like if I understand at the base level, you and I are connected. We are one. Remember back in the day when if you as a young person did something that wasn't right, there more than one person that gave you guidance.
Right.
Talked to you, and spoke to your parents and told you, I'm going to tell your mom what I saw you, what I did to you, and I corrected you or something like that. I feel like you said that in a part of what you said in terms of the scene in the barbershop. You had to start talking about Rosa Parks. It was a 2-person conversation. But at the end of it all, other people chimed in. You know why they chimed in? They felt safe.
Yes. And my father used to say this statement all the time. He said, Black people, we don't have country clubs. We have not given that luxury yet. I don't know we'll ever give that luxury. But you know what our luxury is that is our country club? is the beauty salon and the barbershop.
That's it. You can be whoever you want to be, and people will respect you for what you are in those spaces. And oftentimes, those are safer spaces. I keep using the word safe because when you feel safe around a person, you open up.
Yes.
You talk to them. You express your thoughts, your fears, your dreams. How many times have you thought or overheard someone talk about something that they want to do? And then you get that, you're bombarded with those affirmations. I think I want to go back to school. Go back to school. That's a good thing. Do it.
Yes.
Somebody might chime in from across the room.
Yep.
Because they heard you say something. Those are all affirmations.
Yes.
And it's someone who looks like you is telling you, go for it. And I think we need to get back to that. There's a lot of ills that happen in our community, a lot of things that cause us pause, a lot of things that we wish didn't happen.
Right.
Okay. But at the end of the day, I think if we came together, just in that commonality of being in a space where we're getting ourselves, I call it nice up. You're getting yourself, you're getting yourself handsome, getting yourself beautiful. In that space, you're like, yeah, you look good, you feel good. And then we're having this great conversation too. It's a win-win.
No, you just made me have a realization that as much as we thought the barbershop was just you get your physical together, but you also getting your soul together.
Yeah, it's soul work.
Yep, very much.
I think that's what I recognize. And that's what I never want to not do. I want to always continue to touch the soul. Because I think at the end of the day, all of us need to feel.
Yes.
You put your own word after it. I need to feel what? We all need to feel something. And I have found that I've been blessed to be creative and I use my hands and I create visions. I create thoughts as a person sits in my chair and talk to me about who they are, what their needs are, what their desires. And I recognize that I have the opportunity to groom somebody for the most significant moments of their life.
Right.
Their wedding.
When their first day of their job.
First day of their job. Their family reunion. Yeah. And then we also have the opportunity to groom people at some of the saddest points in their life too.
Funerals.
Yes.
Or coming back home from the penitentiary.
Yes.
Yeah. These are just all
or
things.
even, so we have an opportunity to affect the change. I recognize my opportunity. I don't take it for granted because I really feel like at the end of the day, it's like we talk about soul work.
Yeah.
And the soul work is something that we got back to doing more of it. And it's not just in my profession. I feel like we have opportunities in every profession to affect some kind of change.
No. And I was reading in this book called Healing in Africa, which talks about the healing powers that, we as a community has lost, that in the Middle Passage. And he talked about healing hands. He talked about, I know this might sound crazy, but back in before we left the Middle Passage, when someone was sick and everything, besides prayer, we would say, everyone put their hands on that person. And, the energy, that transfer, that good energy. And I feel like that's the same thing when you're being a hair groomer. You're putting hands on, you're transferring that energy. So how important it is on your daily routine to make sure your intentions is good, so you have to vibrate those.
Wow. Wow. That, my dear, is the secret. The secret sauce is what you just said.
Ooh.
I got to get right. I got to be right. Because, as a lot of people embrace different forms of religion and different ideologies and things like that. But I'm a firm believer in energy.
Yep.
And I feel like I have the ability to transfer my energy onto you, and you have your ability to transfer it onto me.
Right.
And if I'm not right, if my attitude is stank or foul, it will manifest itself in what I give to you.
Right.
I know so many people who are amazing at the work that they do. And I've had people who've come and sat in my chair And I was like, wow, you actually sat in this person's chair. These are people that I've looked up to, I respect. I'm like, wow, I think they're amazing at what they do. But then when they talked to me about some of the things that were missing, it was like that energy was off.
Right.
A lot of times people don't know how to put it, but I put it clearly. I got to get me right before I can get you right.
So what is your diet? And not just so much what you consume foods. I'm talking about books, TV, mental, everything. What is your diet?
Woo! It's all, well, I put it like this. I go from the Bible to self-help.
Okay.
But I'm really into stories. You know? I'm really into understanding what got a person where they are. What I firmly believe is that we're all connected. And there are things, I read a really good book, and I got to tell you this.
Tell our listeners, our readers.
It's called Think and Grow Rich, the Black edition.
Ooh, okay.
Okay? And in that, I was blown away about the greatness that's amongst our people and how we had the ability to, in some of the most adverse circumstances, triumphant. And in the Black edition, Think and Grow Rich, the Black edition, they talked about what they went through. They had a dream, they had a goal, they had an idea, and they pushed forward. And so I'm like, wow, I can put myself in that same position and say, whoa, they did it. They're brown like me.
Right.
You know? And I have more available to me than they did. You know, so I take courage and I take a lot of inspiration from stories.
And then, talking about story, we know I could tell you are avid reader in history that we used to tell our history through stories. Yes. And I feel like that is one way, another service the barbershop provides is stories from the elders and stuff. That I think is one of the only few places now, and especially now with so many Black men not growing up with their father, you can get elders, you can get the baby, and everyone's here to one thing. But you get story. And so talk about the call and the response storytelling that you get that I feel like is only you could get verbally here.
Okay, so I feel like what you get verbally is the experiences as a person who have gone through a particular situation that another person is talking about their freshly experiencing. It's kind of hard, and for some people might not be an avid reader. They may not read at all. But if someone talks about, just the other day, I had a client in this chair, and he's talking about his wife just had a baby, and, the baby is kind of keeping him up at night, but they're trying to juggle the feeding the baby every 2 hours, and, the wife is breastfeeding. He really wants to help, but he can't help. All these types of things. And I remember experiencing some of the same thing. So I was able to say, brother, it's going to be okay. It may not seem like it now. And then there were reaffirming nods from other people in the salon space, the barber salon space, that knew bro, it's going to be okay. They're going to sleep 2 hours, then 3 hours. And it's, don't worry, you're going to get through it. So you hearing those types of things where you can only pass that, because they're not the words that he heard from one person, but he actually saw head nods from people who clearly are older than he is. And he was like, whoa. So there's a part of that passed down that's visual as well as verbal. So I think that's the marriage of the two that we've lost. We can get it in books, we can. But something about the visual and the nonverbal is the way we pass it down too. I don't know if that answers your question.
That makes very sense, because D.L. Hughley, maybe about 6 months ago, when actually it's almost been a year ago, when we were getting ready for the elections and getting ready to vote and everything, he was talking, somebody called onto his show talking about, well, you and Steve Harvey need to step up to the plate. And he's like, if you're waiting on us, which we are already community leaders, to help the whole entire world, you're going to be waiting forever and stuff. And he called out barbers. He called out hair salons. He called out them to come back and be the community leaders instead of looking to celebrity role models.
Right.
And I totally agree. I think that goes hand in hand about on what you're saying, that y'all have to be back the leaders again and get order of the community because, like we said, for us, the corner store, the corner staple of us is where we get our hair done.
It's a hub of information if you really think about it. We are hubs of information. And I feel a responsibility at this point to affect the change. I remember a song growing up in church, and it said, brighten the corner where you are. Okay. And I believe that, like, to your point, you want a change to be effective. And you may not be able to change the world with one person, but the people who come into our space and the groomers who work here alongside me, we can affect the change with every person, and then thus spreading that. You know, I help you out. You in turn will go out and help somebody else.
Yes.
And that all starts, and it has started. We have a history of doing that. So you're right. We got to get back to using the platform that we have to pass things on and affect the change that we need. We can no longer be complacent and complain about what's not happening. Okay. You got to take what I have a little statement that says, take what you have, start where you are, and do it now.
And then you brought up a good segue. I'm just thinking, listening what you're hearing, how as much as we're advancing technology, because, you know, now back in the day, you had to literally call your groomer or you had to walk in to schedule something. Now we are technology. They have all these booking apps and everything, which are good. But are we losing our community through those skills with the barber? Like, I see this the tug of war. I feel the tug of war with the technology of hair business, but we're losing the community.
I think that you need technology.
Okay.
Because there's a level of efficiency that I feel is that the technology helps. And I'll use myself an example.
Okay.
If you're in front of me, I can give you everything you need. Okay? I remember the days I had a physical appointment book where you would call me and make an appointment. I remember answering the phone to make my appointments while a client was in my chair. While the client did understand, I was making an appointment. That was cool. But then those people who called and left a voicemail, and I would hear, man, Dex, I called you 2 days ago. You didn't return my phone call. I want to set an appointment. I'm bad like that.
You just keeping it real.
I'm keeping it real.
Yeah.
So you can go online. You see my full schedule. Oh, Dexter's available at 2:00. 2:00 works for me. You book, you come in. You don't lose the connection with me because I'm not a robot. Right. I don't have a robot, and I'm a human. So there's a level of flexibility that goes. You might call in, and might sound, I'll just say it. You might call in and say, oh, I'm running 5 minutes late. Okay. Well, in the scheduling app, it's already a fudger that allows you to be 5 minutes late. I might have missed your phone call, but you already know that, okay, I'm 5 minutes late. I'm going to be okay.
Right.
So I think it's not as lost as I think you said.
But okay, as long as we keep in retrospect what is important.
And that's the human interaction. Now, what I think technology has done that's not been in our favor is that we've allowed technology to speak for us. And what I mean by that is that how many times have you ever called a 1-800 number or something, or talk to, and you just said, I want to talk to a live person.
Yes.
Think about it. I'm having, don't look at me as the spill and a canned answer. Talk to me like a human. I think that that's something that can happen when you have like scheduling apps and things like that. Certain things will happen. I may not be able to tell you all of my concerns right now. All I know is that, hey, I got to have an important meeting. I need this. I don't normally get this service, but can I add this? All those kinds of variables can only be achieved when we actually talk. So don't use technology to eliminate the human connection and interaction.
No. And so I want to bring it back because you talked about, about healing hands, about intention and being right with yourself.
Yep.
Why is self-care so important for the Black man?
Ooh.
Because we know it for Black women, and we know it, but you are a Black. Majority of your customers are African American males. I want to get straight to the point.
All right. So why is it important? Because I think that when you start to care for yourself and your personhood, then you start to think about other things that you need to give attention to. Okay. While it may start with my haircut or quote unquote self-care, there are other things that happen. I think that even like during the pandemic, we had more time to do certain things. So we devoted more time to it. And then that devoting time to this one thing helps to see that, whoa, I like to give this area some attention. I think that thing happens in the same space of self-care. So as a Black man, we have a stereotypical idea of how we're supposed to be. In a lot of regards now, I feel like a lot of the men who come through our space are guys who are step up to the plate kind of guys. So we want to be Superman because that's a space a lot of times we weren't. We had to rely on the Black woman, and we still do. But there's a sector of men that I interface with on a daily basis who are those guys who, you know what, I'm going to carry my weight and a little bit more. So we like to be the savior. Men like to be saviors. As much as we might not think it, or we don't give it off to you, when you need us, we want to step up to the plate. So there's a lot that's a whole thing we can unpack in another series.
I was saying, let's go. I was going to say, we could go there. Let's talk about it.
But this is the deal. From a guy who wants to be the savior myself, I have to know that in order for me to save anybody, I have to save myself first.
Woo.
What do they say on the plane?
Put your air mask.
Put yourself first, then you can assist those around you. And it's true. If I'm depleted and I've not cared for myself, if I've not eaten properly, I realized for the last 28 years, I stand on my feet for at least 5 hours a day. That's a lot of strain and stress on the body. So I realized really early in the game that I needed to do certain things to sustain myself. Okay. So I had to do self-care. Okay. And a lot of times I see where my health was not at its best because I didn't do self-care. Eating fast food because I got 10 minutes.
Right.
And I didn't properly prepare a meal that would nourish my body to give me the strength I need. When there's a quick carry out, I can go to and get some chicken wings and some fried rice, eat that real quick. Yeah, I got energy, but it's not sustainable.
No. It's like what one of my mentors said. Do you want to be Ruth Chris or do you want to be Waffle House? And she always says Ruth Chris is basically, they worry about each ingredient. Each ingredient was made with love.
Yeah.
Waffle House, it tastes good at the moment, but around 2:00 in the morning, you're gonna be wishing you never ate Waffle House.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's it. So basically, I had to recognize that I gotta do some more self-care, and that's mind, body, and soul. Okay. I got to do more than just eat right. I got to feed myself mentally with some things that's going to fortify me in the wake of all the that's happening to me and my brothers, my black brothers, and shoring up myself and making sure my mental health is strong so I can understand that, you know what? You're not going to ever see me sweat. You know, you may think that you're breaking me, but you're not. That's that mental toughness. You know, I don't have to be aggressive and violent. There's a time and place for everything, as the Bible said.
Amen.
But sometimes it might mean I need to show that inner strength and just chill. But I can't do that if everything around me is not in order. If there's chaos in my home, chaos in my life, chaos in my workplace, if all those things are out of sort, I can't be present and show up like I need to if I've not properly done my self-care. If I don't have my period of meditation in the morning, you know, I read a book, and it's a little side note. It said, the title of the book is that if you want to change your life, start by making your bed. That's the name of the book. And it's one of those things that's like, you know, how do I prepare myself for the day?
Right.
I got to prepare myself so that I can be what I need to be for everybody that comes into my space.
No, so you brought up about the sexist, about the sexist. Do you think the barbershop and the beauty salon can mend relations between black women and black men?
Absolutely. But
So-
you know what it's contingent on?
What?
Honesty.
So you telling me one day I get a couple black women and we can I'll have both of them up in here and
Yes.
Okay.
We can hash it all the way out.
season 3, y'all. That's what we'll be doing.
Hash
Season
it
3.
all the way out because it calls for honest dialogue. And that's the thing that you might have a little challenge with. Because when you have honest dialogue, you got to be naked.
Oh.
You got to be vulnerable. You got to reveal what you may not want other people to see. And I think that black men and black women, we as a people don't do a lot of that because of, I call it the baggage. I'm not saying that the baggage is not without merit.
Right.
I think we came by a lot of this stuff honestly. The pitting against each other, the struggle for power. A black woman makes more than the black man, and that's some form of demasculization. That's not. Come on, we're putting all this in one pot.
Right.
But because I feel like I'm the man, I got to do certain. No, we're a team.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
No,
You went there.
I'm ready.
went there.
You just give me inspiration. Oh, I know, but we going
Yeah, let's
'cause
go there.
I'm only one female. I feel like I'm only 26. I feel like I need a little elder woman, a couple of mixtures.
to talk you off the leg sometimes
No,
because
yeah.
y'all can get a little hot-headed.
Oh yeah, I'll admit I'm 26. I'm a hothead and stuff. I just wish black men can wish that too. They get a little hot-headed,
Yes.
but it's an exchange that we need to have.
There's a I read a book. I mean,
Hey, give
I
all the-
remember this one statement, and I never forgot it. It said, between stimuli and response, there's a space. Between stimuli, meaning something I say to you, the stimuli, the response that you give me as a result of what you heard me say to you, there's a space you got to take. And we don't always take that space. You know how people say, take your time, breathe, count to 5. That is taking the space. Because a lot of times you can't, you cannot unring a bell.
Yeah.
I say something, and, well, you said this and then pissed me up. Come on now.
Hey.
Take the space. Between response and stimuli is the space. Take that space.
Ooh. Oh, okay. Okay, trust me. Season 3, we'll be back, and we're gonna have people because this is a conversation that needs to have multiple people with this. Okay, but getting back to what we're here to talk about, black hair groomer. So, since you started in 1993, how have you seen the business change? Have you seen the scene of the black groomer space? You could go from hairstyles to the business side. We wherever you want to take it.
Well, I think that from a hair perspective, everything is a cycle. It always comes around. everything. I heard someone say today, just today, they said, you know what's coming back? Jerry curls.
Oh, what?
Jerry curls will start, people, it's coming back.
Even though they know that it made them bald, even though is that true or not?
That's not true. There was a product that people would use that would cause baldness, but it was called, I forgot what it is, but there was a product where it would make your hair curly, because Jerry curls are curly.
Right, yeah.
That would do that, but it's not the Jerry curl.
Okay.
And I don't want to say the name of what I think it is, because I'm not sure.
But
there's a product that once you would use it would make your hair curly, but then you'd have some adverse reaction and your hair will fall out. But my whole point is that styles are coming back around. You know, you think about people using like the curl sponge, things of that nature. That's just a version of a flat top that's curly, or like an afro.
Okay.
There are different iterations that'll come back. They'll be added to the style that's already been here. So as it relates to hair, I really feel like what has become much more acceptable, not only just for hair, but facial hair. Facial hair was, for a period, denoted as something that wasn't clean. It wasn't, like beards and things of that nature. Now, beards are here to stay. The grooming of a beard is something that's nice. Even to locks and twists, things of that nature. Those are hairstyles that atypically were given a bad rap. Whereas now they're coming around, and then they have the modernization of that, and they're more acceptable. So that's the space of the hair. Now, what has changed is that I think the consumer are requiring more. It is true, we do want the old school feeling, but quiet as it's kept, something that also came with that old school feeling is being in the space for maybe longer than a half hour or an hour. That's the old school. When you go to barbershop, and you might be in there for a couple of hours because there's no appointment. It's first come, first serve. And there are a lot of places that still operate like that. But consumers are asking, they're requiring more. I need to get an appointment. I need to get in. I need to get out. I may not want it to be here I don't want you to give me a quick 5-minute haircut. But some people will say, you know what? I want to be in and out in 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I really feel like some things, technology and the newness of the industry has changed. And while it is a good thing to have some of the old school feeling, I feel like efficiency is something that people are much more requirement as well. So I think about it. When I first started out, setting an appointment to get your hair cut at a barbershop was available, but it was something a bit of a exception. It wasn't the rule. Now, most people, just like booking an appointment yourself online, more groomers, more barbers are doing that. So I feel like the industry has changed. But one of the biggest changes is, and it's slowly getting there. It's the acceptance of certain things for men that atypically were women.
Yes, I wanted to touch on that. How do you feel? I feel like now black men are more experimental.
Yeah.
Talk about it.
I think that they have options now. They want to, just like a woman who decides that, okay, my hair is not growing as quickly as I want. Men can say, my hair is not growing as quickly as I want. Or my beard is not growing as quickly as I want. So you can add it.
So you have added extensions and pieces. Okay.
Oh, it's called the man weave. It's called the cranial prosthesis.
Explain, please.
That's what a man. Okay, we know what atypically a woman's weave is.
Yes.
Where hair is added.
Right.
For length and or style.
Yes.
Or thickness. You know, guys experience hair loss just that women do.
Right.
But we've had to look at it as a rite of passage. That, you know what, it's just not in the cards for you anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
Your hair is thinning. Go ahead and cut it. Cut that hair off. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might have Uncle Phil, but cut it off and make it bald. Now, if a guy has an Uncle Phil, he can get I can add hair to the top.
Right.
And blend that.
A lot better.
blend it in a lot better, and you won't know the difference until you touch it.
Of course.
The same as a weave.
Yes.
You may not know it's a weave.
Until
a female, you may not know till you go to run your fingers through. Mm-hmm. But just as women would say, oh, no, don't touch my hair. Guys are saying the same thing.
So how have you seen a confidence of a man? Because I seen like a woman who literally is having struggle with their hair, and then they get the weave, and it's like, I'm flipping it, and I'm turning it, I'm tossing it. Is it the same thing with the guys?
It's not that bold, because a lot of guys don't want to own the fact that they do that. So it's a lot of it. They want the look, but they want you to think that somehow they grew it. And it's possible.
Okay.
You think about it. You can rock a hat. Mm-hmm. He's like, he always wears a baseball cap, or he always has a hat on. Mm-hmm. One of the people who really popularized the man weave was Steve Harvey.
Yes.
Because it's like, how is his haircut so perfect?
Yes, for so many years, especially on the Steve High Top show.
Right, yes. and then you also have in film in Hollywood, guys have been wearing wigs and weaves for a long time anyway.
Samuel L. Jackson, every character.
Yeah, right. You see what I'm saying? So it's been around. It's just now more available to the average consumer.
Okay.
So it's like the stigma is still there that it's not your hair for men, whereas women will say, yeah, I'm getting my weave done. Guys are not there yet. And I say, yeah, because they're getting
it's coming. I feel it's coming. Yeah. It's very much coming.
Confidence, yeah.
The confidence.
And then some people do it for they'll do it for Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
They'll do that look they'll put the weave in, man weave in for Halloween.
Okay.
Or they'll get that beard weave added.
Oh, you can do it on the beard too?
Oh, absolutely.
Hold up. I didn't know you could.
Oh, yes. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay.
Or some people might just need it for their hairline. They may not have a strong hairline, and you can get it done there. So, yeah.
Oh, okay. You are teaching me things today. I didn't know that. Yeah. So, like Odell, what's his name? Odell Beckham. I feel like he was one of the main national players that really started showing color in their hair.
Yes.
It's really men experience with color day. How many men that you have come, besides not just getting rid of the grays, but someone say I want a little bit of red, a little bit of orange.
Yep. I think that we're seeing that in the space as well.
Okay.
Men are understanding that, you know what? I want this look. I want this, I want to add more color to my hair, just the conventional black or brown, and like you said, just to cover up the gray. Okay, so yeah, and I think a lot of my younger guys are the ones who will rock the color, the unconventional. They will do the blondes and the I call it it's like an auburn.
Yeah, I know color, exactly what color you're talking about.
So it's like that. And then they'll do like just the tips, just the tips of the hair. A lot of guys who have locks and twists, they'll get just tips color. So
what's the dynamic, especially when a young head is doing this and the old head comes in, you're looking at them like, what are you doing? I can just see the dynamics. What is the dynamics like when these two worlds mix?
You're laughing because that's the dynamic.
It's just a laugh? Oh,
they just laugh.
It's just like...
And they chalk it off as youthful indiscretion. Or why that boy want to do his hair like that? And then there's some savvy older guys who be like, you know what, young man, do it. Do as much as you want. Have as much fun as you want. Express yourself. The encouragement to express yourself is a lot better now than back in the day. So young men they're not looking as, people will say stuff and they'll talk about even to, what they say, skinny jeans.
Yes.
They have all types of names for what they call skinny jeans.
Yeah, yeah.
And some guys young men will wear it and they're like, I don't care what you say. I'm rocking my skinny jeans.
I gotta be here one day when I see y'all have these conversations because I know they be hilarious.
They're very hilarious, but you know what I always say? Our conversations are very they're not intrusive as they used to be.
Okay.
You're not, a lot of times we as a people, when we get excited, if you don't know us, you might think, are they about to fight? So we know that it happens. So we have some lively discussions
Okay.
here. But you always know that this is just a lively discussion.
It's love.
Right, it's love.
It's not like,
something's about to jump off.
No, it's literally.
So the whole, what doesn't happen in our space is that there's not the jump up, man, and I don't believe you can sit here and read your book while someone's having this kind of conversation and not feel like, would they just quiet, or someone can work on their laptop in our space. And they could be doing work, school work, or office work. So it's almost like our space lends itself that it's going to have a level of sophistication.
Of course.
Our conversations are going to be exciting and lively, but they're not going to be to the expense of you not being able to do what you need to do.
Right.
Be it relax,
Yes,
or do some work, or respond to an email or something like that. So
no, it's more passionate.
It's passionate, but it's not intrusive.
Yes.
I don't know if that.
No, it makes sense. Yeah. It actually brings back professionalism.
Yeah, right, definitely.
One thing I have noticed, I have heard, even experienced myself, is the lack of professionalism that Black groomers have. Why is that, and how we get that back, and what's going on?
Well, the lack of professionalism is because somehow we're under the delusion that I'm the only one that can do your hair. And even though you can drive down a main street in any Black neighborhood, you can count a number of grooming establishments, be it barbershops or beauty salons. There are a lot of options. But somehow in our minds, we think that, but no one's going to put your fade in like me. So that way you will tolerate the fact that I'm having a full-scale conversation and you're sitting in my chair. Or I might step outside and look at my friend's new motorcycle while you're sitting in the chair. Or, I got to eat, so I'm going to eat these chicken wings right here at my station. Or I'm going to go while you're sitting in the chair. So that's a lack of professionalism that we've accepted. They say we teach people how to treat us.
Yes.
And I feel like it's not just the barber or the beautician or the stylist's fault. It's the person who sits in the chair and they're so wedded to the way this person does their hair, or they like it so much, or they don't feel like they want to go through, I don't want to find somebody new and things like that. So we teach people how to treat us. If you feel like it's okay to be disrespected like that, and you allow that type of behavior to continue, more or less the person who's doing said behavior is going to continue because you've not, quote unquote, checked them on.
Amen. And then, okay, so you literally everything you say just prompts to another question. Everything. I'm not going to keep you all here all day, but let's get into the debate about washing hair. I don't understand why some Black groomers do not wash hair no more. Can you explain that to me?
Okay, so,
why and how and
why they don't shampoo?
Yes, I don't understand, because I feel like in order to work on a clean hair, you have to clean hair.
It's about speed. A lot of times people don't recognize that if you start out if you shampoo that hair and get a clean palette, you can zip through the haircut a lot faster.
Right.
A lot of times they would rely on the power of their clippers because they don't want to take the time to hire either a shampoo person, or they don't want to do it themselves because they not done something else, i.e. schedule properly and account for that. So what I have seen, it's just a matter of they'll tell client either shampoo your hair before you come, or what they'll do is rush through, and then the client takes the haircut home, and then they shampoo all the oils or moisturizer that they've put in the hair, and they realize that it's not as nice as they needed to. But then they don't check the barber or stylist. They might just go, okay, but it looked good when I left.
Okay.
So that instant, it's a two-way street.
It's a communication.
Back and forth. But I think that a lot of people that I know are starting to either employ a shampoo assistant, or that's just a part of the service process of, we're going to shampoo your hair before you sit in the chair.
No, that makes so much sense. And going to routine is like, I remember when I first walked in here, y'all had a hot towel, and y'all took tell me the correct name of the toolage when they make sure that the line is very straight.
The edges.
Yes, the edges. And I was
and
like,
the razor.
Razor. Yeah. I haven't seen that in years. Yeah. I haven't.
A lot of people don't use razors anymore.
Of course.
And it's because you look at one of the fastest ways to spread any type of bacteria or infections or anything like that is through the razor.
Okay.
And if you're not there, again, we're talking about how we want things instantly. That's a process. You've got to take your time.
Right.
I've got to make sure your skin is prepped. I've got to take my time and use that straight razor, because if I break your skin, you're more prone to get bacteria or infections or things like that. So a lot of times, a lot of people don't want to take the time to do it properly, and they don't want the liability if something happens, because when you cut the skin and it starts to bleed, it's really hard to stop that bleeding.
Right. But it's just the routine of the going back to,
it's old school.
Quality.
Yeah.
The quality is.
You're right. It's about the quality, not the quantity.
Okay. So we have talked about the politics. We have talked about this. I can't talk about the business. We have to talk about the business before we leave. So, as you know, like we said earlier, black hair business is a $1 billion business that sadly we are not in. We're consumers. We're not in ownership. You told me it was a reason why this. Can you explain this? Because I go to stores all the time, beauty stores all the time, and I always ask the owner who he is, not trying to be intrusive, just because I'm curious. And I always see it as a Pacific race, Oriental race, Asian descent race that is usually ownership. And no shade to them, because they're getting their money, making their bread their way. But I always question why we as black people are not in the owning of the business, besides being owners of barbershop and hair salons.
Right. Well, one of the quick answer to that question is the fact that there are groups of people who have collectively pooled their resources, and they have purchased and own the industry in terms of the hair. Rather than, now, I can have a beauty supply shop. I can open up a beauty supply shop. Every barber or stylist, if that's the goal that they have, they can open up a beauty supply shop. Okay? But this is the difference. When that person goes to buy whatever products they want to stock, just like how Walmart, Costco, they can offer these huge discounts because of the lots of what they're purchasing. And this is how the quote unquote people do it, the Asian people do it. They go and say, hey, we want 1,000 of, and this is the price we want to pay for it. And then they take the 1,000 and then they disseminate and they pass around that product to all of the people who are in their group. All the beauty supply shops in Philadelphia, all the beauty supply shops in New York, they're all have a quote unquote alliance, so they can command the dollar. Because a lot of us go, and you said right, we're our consumers, but we get things in there. We're not saying this is so expensive. A lot of times the prices are very affordable.
Right.
To the point, some things are just downright cheap.
Right.
So I, African American, brown just like you, why is it that I can go to Miss Chin's shop and get a bag of weave hair for $8.99? You're selling the same weave hair for $29.95 because the lot in which I buy my hair, I can't compete with their numbers.
Right.
So that while I'm charging you $29.99, I probably had to pay $18. So I'm not even feeling like I'm making a huge profit. Whereas they bought 1,000 lots. And they say, okay, well, since you're buying 1,000, we'll give it to you for $5. You see the disparity? This disparity is systemic. And there's a lot of, like even to getting small business loans.
Right.
There are groups of they'll get a small minority because they
represent minority.
As a minority.
Yes.
They pool all of their resources, because their community is designed that way, and they're encouraged and indoctrinated that way. So they grow up thinking like that, whereas and this is another subject, we're in a lot of regards have been groomed to pit ourselves against each other.
Right.
Oh, you're trying to be better than me now. You're trying to, so there are a lot of things that contribute to that. But that doesn't mean that we can't affect the change.
Understand.
We can, and a lot of people are making a lot of inroads and infiltrating a lot of those markets in a lot of ways. So it's just a matter of, we just got to keep grinding at it.
Okay.
And we got to keep going until we break all of those glass ceilings.
No, fully understand you. Business. Any type of business advice that you want to give our listeners on, just if there any person that wants to get into the grooming business, what business do they need to know? Because this is still a business. As much as spiritual is, you still have to take care of business.
Right. I really feel like every person who wants to open up a business, and I'm talking from the person who wants to be a one-person operation in a salon suite, you should take a business course. Then you could even do a business course online. There are community colleges, and a lot of people who live in areas, you can get in-state tuition, and a lot of these courses are for little under $200.
Wow!
Just you don't have to do it for the degree, but do it for the business course. They're online. There are a lot of people who've done, and there's some places we can find that people can coach you.
Ooh.
On how to get with a mentor, get with someone who's doing the business the way you want to do your business, and talk to them. A lot of people don't recognize that. They think that this person is unattainable, or they won't have a conversation with me, when in actuality it's quite the opposite. Right. Because I know myself, anybody who's willing to do the work, I can recognize that. And anything that I can share with somebody to help them better in the business, I'll do it, because it only makes me better to be able to impart knowledge that I have onto somebody else. So there's so many ways to get that business attribute that you need, and that is, like I said, online things. You can go to community college, talk to a mentor. There's so many free resources, and I wouldn't suggest you do it strictly with YouTube. Yes. I'm talking some online free courses on how to set up your taxes, talking about the legal and ramifications of having a business. So, or learning, speaking with someone on how to read a lease agreement, understanding the terms of agreement, what's included in your lease and what's not. It's a lot of legal jargon, but there are people out there who will help you go through this information.
So basically, if you're seeking it, it's out there for you. It's
out there. There's a statement that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Oh.
And I'm a firm believer in that. When I'm ready to learn something, inevitably someone comes in my path to teach me, because I'm now ready. And a lot of times, those very people have been in my same space. But it wasn't until I was ready to learn that the manifestation of that came about.
No. Okay, so we got to wrap up. But now it's to the Wild Award. So if you're the first time listening to our podcast, the Wild Award is basically someone that helped you get to where you are today. You can know them. You can see them on TV. You could never met them. But their journey, their story, their words, the way they carry themselves, their aura, their essence, gave you the energy to get to where you are today.
That person would be, his name is Mr. Beaver.
Mr. Beaver.
I'm from Savannah, Georgia.
Yes.
And when I was probably, I want to say no more than 8, 9 years old, I used to sweep hair in his barber shop.
Wow.
And the jewels and nuggets that he would tell me, I remember, I didn't pay a lot of attention, but I did remember hearing him say certain things. And what he taught me was that treat people with the same amount of love and respect you want to be treated with, and look at everybody as somebody that's your family. Dignity, honor, respect, love, concern, care, compassion, mercy, all these things. And I saw him model that. He came in with a shirt and tie on every day that I was there. He'd take off his jacket and put on his barber smock, but he would have on a shirt and tie or a fresh, clean shirt every day. And those are things I never forgot. He was like, be respectable, show your pride. And the quickest way I feel you can show pride in yourself is how you groom yourself.
Yes.
So for me, it's important to present myself like I want to be perceived. And I want to be perceived as someone who cares about what he does. And that's why I wear shirt and tie. And I learned that from Mr. Beaver.
Wow. Is Mr. Beaver still alive, or he
No,
passed?
unfortunately he passed.
Okay.
But he was the owner of the oldest black barbershop in Savannah, Georgia. It was called Beaver's Barbershop.
Beaver's Barbershop. Did that give you inspiration? Did you knew after seeing him you wanted to do what he did?
No, I didn't know that until later.
Okay. Let's get that real quick. That's important to our listeners.
I recognized when I wanted to be an entrepreneur that I wanted to do something that I cared about and I loved. And I didn't know that grooming was something that I grew up with. And that's how it started. So once I recognized and made the connection that entrepreneurship has a lot to do with what you love and your passion, I was like, duh.
It makes sense. The bug bit you because it bit me, of course. So last question. Did you think becoming a groomer would get you this far in life? From starting out when you was just in grooming school, cosmetology school, to now in 28 years of business?
I saw it. I saw all of this when I embarked upon it because I said I wanted to do something different. I wanted to bring customer service and luxury grooming to my people in a space where they felt loved and respected and safe. And that's what I saw. I saw this when I went to barber school because I didn't see it anywhere else.
Right.
But I knew that it exists because in other spaces that are non-African American, that was what they did. A clean space, a professional space, a place that made you want to say, you know what, these people care about what they're doing here. I knew it exists because we as a people are those kind of people.
Yes.
We're some of the flyest, sharpest, cleanest people in the world. You go to our homes, we invite you to our house, you're going to feel welcome.
Right.
I wanted to make everybody feel, who comes in here, to feel like you're in your house.
Right.
In a very nice house.
But
a house. So that homey feeling, that southern, I'm a southerner. So that southern hospitality, I've always been taught and I've always seen model. When someone comes in your house, first 5 seconds there, you offer them something.
Food, drinks,
some hot tea, some ice cold water, some fresh lemonade or a piece of cake, or some black eyed peas and rice. Offer them something because you want to share what you have with somebody who comes into your space.
There we have it, guys. Okay, so if you want to get in contact with Mr. Dexter Fields for mentorship, because you do offer mentorship, right?
Absolutely.
When the time is ready, the person who's ready to, they can come talk to you, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, if you want to get a haircut, if you just want to come see out this really unique, beautiful space because it's decorated so fly and cool, where can they reach you at?
2 ways. You can go to our website. It is millenniumsilverspring.com.
Okay.
Or we're on social media. We're on Facebook. We're also on Instagram under Dexter the Groomer on Instagram.
Okay.
And also Millennium Salon. That's MILLENNIUM Salon. And the tagline is Curators of Grooming.
Ooh. All right. So before we close out, remember this. Inside all of us is hope. Inside all of us is fear. Inside all of us is adventure. Inside all of this is a wild thing. My name is Melissa, and you're listening to Wow. Thank you. Bye. Peace.